How is everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. We are back with yet another Borderlands 4 video with everything that we know up to this point, as well as all the new information that we gathered from last night's Game Awards with the official first look reveal for Borderlands 4. I wanted to break down a few things about everything we know. I got a ton of content coming on the way for Borderlands 4 specifically. I'm super excited about this. There are a few things that I talked about in our previous video going over Borderlands 4 that I think are coming true. Some of my predictions seem to be the case and seem to be right, so we're going to break down a few of those things and just talk about everything we know. Straight away, this story seems to be a little bit different than what we've seen in the past for all the Borderlands titles, where there's not one antagonist, there's going to be multiple ones here. From the looks of it in the recent reveal, there's going to be two different factions, the Rippers, which is going to be led by the Queen Callus. This character looks super awesome. Enemies overall, they just look insane, and it looks crazy. And then we have the Order by none other than the Timekeeper. Now, the interesting thing about the Timekeeper, this is actually not the first time we've heard about him. We actually heard about him previously in the Borderlands titles. He's actually mentioned by Nereid in one of the logs in Borderlands 3. This log specifically mentioned that there are 3 vault monsters out there, one of them being a Grave Ward, which we know about, one of them being the Traveler, which is another one we know about from Tales of the Borderlands, and then the other being the Timekeeper. So the introduction of the Timekeeper overall isn't something new. We've seen it before. It's kind of hidden in the lore of Borderlands 3 through the logs, but that's the beautiful thing about Borderlands. There's so much in-depth with their lore. So if you've really paid attention, you may have recognized that the Time Traveler has actually been announced. Now, as we know, this trailer really bridges the gap between Borderlands 3 and 4, and it really sets the precedent of what is actually occurring here. In my opinion, and what I've said before, I really thought we were going to veer over to the side of some sci-fi, cybernetic style futuristic content and have a lot of those elements in Borderlands 4, and it kind of seems like that is going to be the case. We're going to be going to an unknown planet. We've seen so much of it. The environments look beautiful, different layouts, the different styles. There's big factories, there's open grass fields that look beautiful. Like, the graphics alone in Borderlands, I think they are just such a good representation, and they really hold true, and seeing these new environments is absolutely insane. We don't know a lot about this new planet, but what we do understand is that there seems to be a huge war going on between these two antagonists, Queen Callus and the Timekeeper. This is interesting because I think for the first time ever in the franchise, us as a Vault Hunters are going to be sitting on an outside perspective, and we may have to play sides a little bit. We do know in the past that they've talked about Randy Pitchford in Borderlands and Gearbox. They've talked about that Vault Hunter is going to be much more in tune with the story, and there's going to be dialogue. It's going to change throughout the game. So I think the biggest thing to take away here, that from my perspective, again guys, this is all theory, is that as we go through the story of Borderlands 4, we're really going to be picking sides here. We may make decisions to help the Order. We may make decisions to help the Rippers, Queen Callus, the Timekeeper, whatever it may be, as we try to navigate this war, and we're kind of stuck in the middle and trying to create peace on this planet. That's just my idea. That's just my theory. We're going to see if that comes to fruition. We do not know, but super excited about that. Now, we could see early on in the trailer a bandit is getting grabbed by this spider-looking lady, and it seems that she may be either having mind control over them. As you can see, she has red eyes, so do the bandits. So either it's her having mind control, or here's a pretty far-fetched theory, as we're leaning towards a cyberpunk theme with all these mechanical enemies. As you know, the bandit here with his legs on his shoulder doing breakdancing. There's so many mechanical things here in sci-fi. This could be a mechanical bandit army. I don't know. That is a super far-fetched idea, but it could be the possibility. So either she's manipulating them, or some of these bandits are actually part of a mechanical sci-fi army. As you know, a lot of these enemies are mechanical overall. They have mechanical arms, legs, faces, whatever it may be. Some bandits look standard, they look human, but there is such a different style to all these enemies. The masks look different. There's so many different kind of enemy types here. We have brutes, we have different spider looking ones and different sci-fi style ones, and it just looks insane as these two factions, the Rippers as well as the Order, just clash together, and the bandits it just looks insane. You got flying guys, floating guys. Overall, what stands out to me is the fact that there looks like there's going to be so much more variety in the enemy styles, not only with having diverse factions, the bandits, the Iridians, and like this sci-fi style army. It just seems like the diversity of different kind of enemy types is going to be very heavy in this title. We also do know that there's going to be beam weapons, sci-fi weapons. We see that introduced. They are leaning towards a seeming to be somewhat more on the melee side. They're going to bring kind of like what Wonderlands has and bring kind of melee options in there. I like melee. It's not my first pick, but I'm pretty excited to see that they're just going to be bringing that in as an option, seemingly. We also have new vehicles. This vehicle looks straight out of Star Wars, guys, I have to say. It looks like a pod racer. We also do see different weapons dropping, typical Borderlands fashion, but the legendaries now seem to have a completely new glow to them. It's kind of like a Pearl Essence style, like, you know, mixing all the color varieties of the weapons into the legendary. So that's interesting. Is it a complete new weapon rarity, or is it just a new way they're presenting legendaries? We do not know. This is one thing that a lot of games are doing nowadays, and rightfully so in my opinion, is movement. Movement is changing across the board in most titles, as you guys have seen it with different games, and it seems like Borderlands 4 is also going to take this into account. We see grappling hooks, the ability to grapple in different areas of the map. I think that's going to be a huge part of traversal. I also do think movement overall is going to be reworked, from sliding, jumping, different kinds of movements. Pretty interesting to see, and as we know, Borderlands does not have any fall damage, so having this grappling hook going up high and things like that, traversing this world and these maps is going to be absolutely insane. Now, I would say one of the most interesting and kind of a hole in, you know, the information and data that we have is towards the end of the trailer, we do see the timekeeper in front of a vault. This vault looks nothing like we've seen before. Most vaults in the Borderlands franchise have been, you know, alien style from the Iridians. You know, they got these glyphs, they're made out of stone, and they have a glowing purple aura to them. But in Borderlands 4, the vault that is behind the timekeeper, it almost seems man-made. Now, I want to kind of lean more towards the sci-fi aspect. I think this is going to be very, very sci-fi heavy title. That's just my overall opinion. I'm sticking with it. Thought about it since the beginning. I'm sticking with it till the end. We will see if that comes to be. But it just seems like this vault specifically has a complete different glow to it. It's glowing yellow, you know, and it doesn't look like any vault we've seen before. I kind of think that this vault is going to be not like any other vault in the franchise. You know, vaults prior are prisons to keep monsters in, keep the vault monsters in, as well as loots, things like that. I think this vault is going to be a time capsule, the ability to travel through time, and that's what the timekeeper is using it as. Maybe it's his specific vault that he uses to alter time, bring things back from the dead, things from the past, things from the future, and bring them into this world. So I think there's going to be a heavy influence on maybe characters returning, different things returning from the past, as well as future things that will be able to be the build and lead up to Borderlands 5. I know we're already talking about Borderlands 5. Borderlands 4 isn't even out. Got a whole year to wait. But I really think this is going to be how they're going to tie into what the future is going to hold for the title and the franchise. By having this element of the timekeeper, being able to maybe bring Lilith back, being able to bring different characters back, and as well as bring in new characters that we've never seen before, due to the fact that he basically can manipulate time at his will. He doesn't seem that powerful, which is very interesting to me, because if you can manipulate time, you can pretty much do anything, in my opinion. You can just completely manipulate anything that's going on, and it just seems interesting. We do have a quick look at 4 of the Vault Hunters. We do know we are getting 4 completely new Vault Hunters across the board. One of them is melee focus, this one on the far left, strictly melee focus. We can actually see some of his moveset in part of the trailer. Then we have a siren looking character that has been confirmed that this is a siren. It does look like Ava. I don't know if it's going to be. We will have to find out. You know, I don't think it is, because they say they're completely new. You know, Ava technically can be a new Vault Hunter. She's not a Vault Hunter in 3, but I doubt it's going to be her. Everyone hates her. And then we have a Berserker style character. This guy just looks like a heavy brute, almost looks like a Viking style. And we have this scientist looking, you know, kind of looks like it's going to lean more towards a sci-fi style, maybe a healer. I don't know. We're going to have to see. They did not showcase too much information on this Vault Hunter specifically, which is interesting to me. They didn't show much of her at all. They showed the Berserker. They showed the melee character, a little bit of the siren. They didn't really show this Vault Hunter all the way on the far right. So I'm kind of curious what the moveset's going to be and what exactly this style of play will be for this character, because we have no data on her. It's just interesting because we see a little bit of gunplay, a little bit of gameplay, nothing too specific. Do see Zane over here, what seems to be Zane, chilling out in the background, an old version of Zane. This guy's aged pretty well in my opinion. And then back here, it seems like they're using his older model of his Digiclone. Obviously has a different hairstyle, but it's just interesting to see see exactly what that's all about. Then we see Marcus. I think this is Marcus here. It's like a younger version of Marcus. So are we going back in time? Are we going forward? I think we're going to be going back in time, honestly. I don't know, but we may be going in the future. It may be a blend of both of those things. I do not know. I just think so far what they've built up for Borderlands 4 is extremely interesting. I'm super curious, mainly about the environments and the characters characters. I'm not really too intrigued about the Vault Hunters. I'm not too intrigued about the story. The environments and the characters, whether it's the enemies or the new factions or just the main lore characters, seem super interesting to me. This is just some quick thoughts that I've had. You know, I'm kind of just going on a rant while I make this video. I'm gonna go more in depth on the Vault Hunters, the Timekeeper, all of that in future videos. I got a bunch of breakdowns here. I basically sat all morning going frame by frame, compiling all the data we have so far, and there's a few interesting things that I want to do a deep dive in other videos specifically. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like on it and subscribe for all things Borderlands. I'm super excited for this. I can't wait. I think I'm going to go to bed and just try to sleep until Borderlands 4 comes out. Appreciate every single one of you guys, and as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and have a beautiful day.